welcome back to Studio 595. It is now 2024, and this is the back half of the school year, if you can believe it. And I thankfully have only made one mistake in typing in 2023 to any of my documents, and we are back, as you can see. Back as normal. We are going to be having a lot more fun with the semester. We have a lot of actual interviews planned, including for this episode, and you'll see that in a bit. But first, let's check in with our co-host. Jules, how was your vacation?
My vacation was so awesome. I didn't go anywhere, but I got these awesome pants. Pants montage right now. I'll show the pants, but they're really cool. They're really wavy. They have patches. I saw my family, which was very nice, and I feel refreshed for the school year. How do you feel, Owen?
I'm excited for this new school year. I'm excited for the people I'm going to meet. I'm enjoying my classes so far. Not looking forward to algebra, but the break was good, so it balances it out, you know?
Algebra 2?
Yep.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned to these two that during the course of the break, I survived 3 round trips to the metro Atlanta area, and I take that as a win.
Alex did a lot of driving.
A lot of driving.
He has like battle scars.
Over the course of 3 days, I probably did about, doing the math in my head, about 350 miles of driving.
His car has an eye patch on it now.
So
that's what driving it did.
That's fun. So thankfully, though, back in one piece, and we are looking forward. I can already tell that Luffy's behind me. I know that for a fact. I know that for a fact.
It's real.
But I am also looking forward to what we have in store. Our audience does not know the board of interviews that we have scheduled to my right.
It's just
and we have a lot of schedules planned, or a lot of interviews planned for the rest of the semester. A lot of them for our episodes that are going to be months in advance, but we are looking forward to those. And so I thought, since we're looking forward to the new year, why don't we look at things that we are predicting for the new year? And so over the course of the next couple minutes, we will be highlighting a couple things that we predict for 2024 and how will we score this? How will we know who is the most accurate in their predictions for the new year? We're going to be having a year-long bingo game of things that we predict. And we're only going to highlight a couple things because they will be on the screen as we discuss them.
This bingo game, Jules has already gotten a point before we. In the day that we made this list,
the day after, or
new
the day
frog
of.
dropped.
Yes.
New frog dropped. We'll let Jules talk about that for their news segment. We'll let them
stay tuned.
But Jules already has gotten the jump start on me and Alex. So let's discuss
new creature.
So I'm going to start with mine because I feel like mine is the most adult, and I know that a lot of our audience are just looking forward to what you guys are predicting for the new year. Some of the more interesting things that I have predicted for the upcoming year are things, some of the things that we predicted are similar.
Me and Alex are butting head to head on one of our predictions.
Yes, and I'll explain that right now. So it's easy to say that like a new movie or a video game is going to come out next year, or this year rather, and a lot of things like that we have narrowed down by saying what we specifically think will be either announced or what will happen in the new year. Some of my predictions include the release of a Halo movie based off of the famous video game franchise
Called Halo.
Yes. We have each selected a country around the world that we think that is currently not in the spotlight, mind you, will be in the spotlight for the next year, and my prediction is Morocco. Some other small and more obscure things, like the fact that I believe a politician at some point this year will be demonstrating the gritty, and I can't wait for that to happen. I think that is going to be the prediction that I really hope does actually happen. But here are the items on my bingo card right now. And so,
Isn't it stylish?
Jules, some of your things
Ooh, yeah.
are, I would say some of them are a bit far-fetched.
I think
No.
I agree some of them are far-fetched, but I think the far-fetched ones are some of the best ones, because on the off chance that I do get a bingo with that, it'll be like twice as good. I mean, for example, one of mine is that Yellowstone will show some sort of volcanic activity. And
Major volcanic activity.
Which will be horrible for all of us, but like
I get
one bit closer to a bingo.
Hold on now.
But I get a sticker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been instructed I'm not allowed to talk about natural disasters, but a volcanic eruption, I feel.
No, volcanic activity. There is a difference.
That's not a disaster.
Fine.
I wasn't going to allow Jules to predict that Yellowstone would actually erupt.
Okay.
But simply that volcanic activity can occur without an eruption occurring.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
think anyone's gonna get hurt or
Touche.
anything horrible like that. But some of mine are also more based in reality, like how the Garfield movie will not pass the Bechdel test. That's a free spot.
Or,
I think.
in terms of movies, how one of mine is that I believe the Minecraft movie will be announced this year.
Dude, they need to get the
They've been
guy.
dropping hints?
They need to get the guy that played Kratos to play Steve.
Jack Black is playing Steve. Yeah.
So
We don't know if it's animated, we don't know.
So some highlights of Jules's predictions, some of which I do hope happen, like someone trying to marry AI, or like the one that we alluded to and that you will give in further detail later in the episode, is that a new creature has dropped.
New creature has dropped already.
Jules already gets a point on their bingo card.
2024, we already have a patch.
Yeah,
This is awesome.
so as you are watching now, Jules is 3 points away from having a bingo, and to reach that specific bingo, the Las Vegas Sphere would have to be hacked. The Garfield movie, as you mentioned, would have to fail the Bechdel test, and lab-grown meat will be sold in stores, which I think that is the easiest path that you have on your bingo card.
Yeah, lab-grown meat I feel is pretty solid because we already have the Impossible Whopper. Mm-hmm. Is that lab-grown meat?
I feel like it's gotten to the point where it's only a matter of time.
I will add a slight caveat. The Las Vegas Sphere being hacked will count for you as long as you aren't the one that hacks it. Because that is so
That's fair.
specific
That's a
that I
fair one.
wouldn't want you to do it.
Hey guys, get on that for. Actually, don't let it get hacked.
Don't get on
Here's
that.
Jules' bingo card for 2024.
Do you
and
like it?
finally, we have Owen, which we butted heads on who we think actually will feature in a Super Bowl ad in a couple weeks at this
Alex was telling me about this plan that he had for the
Yes.
bingo cards, and he said, I believe Travis Kelce is going to be in a Super Bowl commercial.
Yes.
And I said, no, I don't think so. I think Taylor Swift will be in one. Because how good would that be to see Taylor Swift in like a Doritos commercial? We all remember it, where
That'd be
it's like
great.
he's shaking the box, and it's like the time machine. I'd love to see Taylor Swift in something like that.
I think actually that might be one that we both get right. I can't help but think
Taylor
that
Swift.
both of them will feature.
Especially in the last year, she's huge.
I don't think
Yeah.
she's going to like sell out and do something like how last year people were doing that like one like crypto commercial where they
right.
got like hacked. Like I don't think she's going to sell it like that, but I feel like for a
Amen.
big brand paying her enough money, that would draw so much attention. I think it'd be a good move for her. It'd be a good move for the company, and I think she would do it just because, you know,
like
moolah. And also she gets to be in like a Doritos commercial. I'm not going to say it's going to be a Doritos commercial.
gets to be in a
That's a privilege. That's a privilege. Doritos commercials are privileges. Okay.
Some other highlights that you have. So I mentioned before that I thought Morocco would go big. Jules, you think that Haiti is going to be relevant?
Something's brewing.
And
Under the surface.
And despite the fact that it's not its own country, Owen, you have selected Greenland.
Yeah,
Why?
something big's happening. Look, I'm not allowed to talk about it. I'm not
signed
into
an
discretion.
NDA. He
I'm not
signed
allowed
an
to talk about it.
NDA.
But trust me, something big is coming from Greenland, and I can't say what it will be.
Greenland can become relevant, but again, you can't be the reason
The
why.
Greenlandians are like shaking in their boots right now.
They know.
Otherwise
ready
known
for
as
this rise to the spotlight.
otherwise known as the Danish people, because
Hey.
Denmark owns Greenland.
You ever heard of a guy
I
called
believe it's still
Godzilla?
accurate.
Yeah, I call myself.
So other things that you have mentioned is the fact that you think Arby's will go up in revenue. You think Captain D's will go down in
There's
revenue.
no way Captain D sustains itself another year. I don't believe it.
I
don't believe it.
I like the one next to Wednesday.
The one that's right by our work, sure. How many people do you see compared to Arby's do you see going there? I don't need to argue this point.
This
These
is
are just my
part 2 to
predictions.
our Arby's discussion
Have we
a couple
discussed
episodes
Arby's
ago.
already?
Yeah,
Flashback.
Well, I don't know
We
if it
don't
made
have
the
the
cut. I
footage.
don't know if it made the cut.
Long story short, I think Captain D's is going to. They might close some locations, and I think Arby's is going to stay pretty much where they are.
Something
But I need
big.
more big Arby's signs with lights on them.
Those are pretty.
Some other things, like you mentioned, the Minecraft movie being announced. The fact you also have a prediction about the Garfield movie, but that it won't reach $50 million in the U.S.
Morgan Freeman and Fortnite.
in revenue.
I think that one is going to come back and bite me in the butt because I feel like, I don't know when it's coming out, but I feel like the Garfield movie will probably make more than $50 million. If the Audi versus Lancia movie made like $30 million or something, right?
I want to say, I think the figures are not official yet, but I think it was 54 million, but that was across the entire international sphere as
I
well.
will be wrong. Garfield will make more than $50-something million. I said that number on a whim. I would like to call it now. That one will be wrong for me. And I want to put it, it's going to be a bad
can't
movie.
back out
I'm
now.
not backing out on it.
You
I'm
can't.
making my point of, look, people were like, oh, Mario movie's going to be weird. Chris Pratt's going to voice it. And it made, what, like $1 billion?
Yeah.
I'm wrong, okay? I admit that now. The Garfield Pillow Pet got released like 2 days ago, and it's sold out within a minute. and then they re-released it again today, and it's sold out within a minute.
I could have told you that your prediction was going to be
My
wrong.
prediction's so wrong, and I'm okay with that. I
For as
understand.
old as Garfield is, it's always going to be popular.
As big as it's
I
gonna
need a
be.
Calvin and Hobbes movie.
Do you think it will? As big as it's gonna be, do you think it will pass the Bechdel test or no?
I don't know, but I don't like Normal
I
or
love
Odie.
Normal.
I just like Garfield
Normal's
and John Arbuckle.
Normal's real.
And finally, here is Owen's bingo card, including the fact that Travis Scott will return to Fortnite and
It's
Morgan
true.
Freeman will join Fortnite.
It's true.
They'll
Travis
be-
Scott
they'll be
will
in a-
be back in the item shop.
They'll be in a bundle.
And so, quickly before we go into district updates and pop culture updates, looking forward to 2024, how do you both handle trying to actually meet your respective goals for the year?
Ooh.
Our goals are New Year's resolutions, or what are you referring to there?
Yeah,
Like this.
I've decided to take a different approach this year, but I wanted to hear what your respective takes were. For
I've
the
never
year.
really had like New Year's resolutions, but this year I want to make a better job at I gotta brush my teeth more. That's something that I sometimes forget to do in the mornings, and so I want to work better on that and kind of push myself to do better hygiene and keep my room nice and tidy, and so that way I feel more collected this year is what I want to start doing.
A lot of organizational stuff.
Yeah, organizational stuff, self-care stuff, I think will be helpful. But I know setting resolutions and being like, I need to do this every day is not a great idea. But I think setting a goal for myself of progress over time, that's for me.
And Jules,
I will sail a sailboat.
is
Fair
that your
enough.
one goal?
Yeah, and maybe work
Sail-
out. Work out a little bit. But mainly
Sailboat
the
or regular boat, like motor
No,
boat?
the sailboat.
You are gonna have to work out.
Yeah,
You're gonna
if I'm doing a sailboat.
Yeah.
I
I know a guy who can get you on a sailboat.
know a guy who can get me on a hang glider.
Okay, I can get you on a race
I
sailboat.
like to flex that I've been hang gliding.
Jules has.
Very quickly, I think the words of advice I can give in terms of giving, I wouldn't even say New Year's resolutions, but on how to approach goals for the new year. I've actually been doing a bit of an adventure myself trying to do this, but simply create a starting point. Know what you want out of this year. So instead of focusing on working out, let's say 5 times a week, if you really want to get into it, it's just like a nice round number, 5 times a week.
Shape.
I think
Good buff.
a goal would be to first do a workout a week and then progressively add on to it. So once you get comfortable doing 1 a week, then 2 a week, then 3 a week, and so on, And if you want to, like, a specific thing that I'm working on this year is getting more sleep. That is something that has affected me in a million different ways. And so setting an actual time for me to simply go to bed, not to sleep, but to physically unwind and to be in a spot where I'm perhaps not using my phone as much and doing something that actually relaxes me or calms me down or helps my mind kind of just like stop thinking about stuff. That often helps. I'm currently reading the book that I started reading about 6 months ago and then put it away after about 2 months in. And over the course of the last couple of days, I've gotten through a chapter, I've read more pages and stuff like that. And that also helps me relax. Because I'm not going to say that I'm a big fan of reading, but I know that that's something that actually does help me relax. And so here are some other tips, because I could go on and on about this. But by all means, find something that you enjoy to do and any aspirational goals that you have and try to gradually implement them into your daily routine and see. Don't be afraid to create a goal and then think that you have to adjust it or remove it from your goals for the year, or adjust it because you think that you're not going to be able to reach that, but still try to obtain it. And if you can only obtain 60%, that's still 60% more than what you were likely doing before. So going ahead and doing that will go a long way for the new year.
And don't overwork yourself.
Don't overwork
You're
yourself.
a human being with needs and wants, and it's okay to be a little silly at times.
Burnout is real, so like pace yourself.
Take a nice bath.
Fairly real, unfortunately.
Take a nice bath. Take 2 nice baths. Take 5 nice baths. I got new bath candles for Christmas.
We'll be right back to the show, but first let's check in on our district updates as part of our Can't Miss Minutes. Applications for the Athens Community Career Academy for the 2024-25 school year are now being accepted. Students who will be in grades 10, 11, or 12 next year are invited to apply to take classes at ACCA in more than a dozen career pathways. Go to bit.ly/ACCA catalog to learn more about these high school and college level pathways, and go to bit.ly/ACCA app to apply. Moving on now, and attention families, registration for new CCSD students for the 2024-25 school year is now open. Families who register their students for pre-K by February 9th will be placed into the district's pre-K lottery and will be notified of their child's classroom placement or waitlist status by April 15th. Student registration is now entirely online, but in-person appointments are available for assistance. Go to clark.k12.ga.us/registration for more information on the registration process and to access the application. Moving on to congratulations now to Bobby Bales, custodian at Timothy Road Elementary, for being named CCSD's Employee of the Month for January. Anyone in the community may nominate any full-time employee of CCSD with at least 1 full year of service for Employee of the Month. Nominations for February Employee of the Month will be accepted through January 31st. Go to bit.ly/CCSDEOM to get started. Also, congratulations to Cedar Shoals senior Mason Hardy and Clark Central freshman Jade Scott for being selected for their respective all-state bands for the Georgia Music Educators Association. Mason was selected as a contrabass clarinet player for the 12th and 11th grade all-state symphonic band, while Jade was selected as a percussionist for the 10th and 9th grade all-state band. Both students will be performing with their respective bands on March 2nd at the Classic Center in Athens. Congratulations to Clark Mills Gala Jamot Ramos on winning at the CCSD District Spelling Bee this week on January 23rd. You can see those photos on our Facebook and Instagram pages. Gala will move on to the GAE Regional Bee on February 24th in Eatonton. Best of luck there. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to the Better Together newsletter curated by my colleague and friend of the podcast, Scott Thompson, for all the newest updates weekly across CCSD. Now back to Owen and Jules and some more Studio 595.
I'm back, and I have some news for you. 2 things of note. 1, if you use an Xbox and you have been taking screenshots or recording your gameplay, I have bad news for you. If you have not backed that up and have been backing it up to Xbox's cloud, it has been deleted. Xbox is not keeping anything in their cloud for, I believe it's over 30 days now. So you need to back up what you record, and if you don't, it is gone. Hertz is currently selling off 20,000 EVs because they can't sustain them anymore. What this means is that they're going to start buying more gasoline vehicles, and they're selling off their Teslas, Tesla Model 3s. So if you go to certain Hertz rental places, you can buy a Tesla with 50 to 100,000 miles for as low as $16,000 right now. It is used, and it's been driven excessively by a lot of different people, and it may be a little broken, but $16,000 for a Tesla Model 3 is not half bad.
Hey, do you like Panera? Me too. Do you like Panera lemonade? Me too. Or I used to, until I found out that they put 400 milligrams of caffeine in there before it got regulated. People are getting severely injured because of this. Obviously, consuming that much caffeine can cause like really bad heart problems. This is a Monster Energy. This has 140 milligrams of caffeine. Don't drink the Panera lemonade. What's up, boys? New frog dropped this early into 2024. It's called the lemon nectar from the Sulawesi Island in Indonesia. And as you can see, he has vicious fangs, but don't worry, he won't bite you unless you're another male trying to take his lady. They do eat crabs. If you're a crab, stay away from these guys because they'll chomp you up.
I want to take us back real quick to 2023 because I think that there's one thing that we didn't highlight, and that is alternatives to the New York Times Square ball drop that we see every year, or the hot again, cold again Atlanta peach drop that didn't happen this year. So some of you may know the town of Las Cruces, New Mexico from Better Call Saul. And although in the show it is fictional, it actually does exist. And they have one of the highest ranked New Year's Eve events every year. And it's called the Chili Drop, and they drop an illuminated chili pepper at midnight, and it drops down just like the New York Times Square ball does as well. So that's an option for next year. But moving on, Mount Olive, North Carolina has their pickle drop, and you may remember the name Mount Olive from your local grocery store because it's the Mount Olive pickle brand. The hometown of that brand in North Carolina does a pickle drop every year, and just like the chili drop in New Mexico, they have a digital illuminated pickle they drop. I believe it's 3 feet in length, and so they have that going for themselves. Finally, we go to one of the capitals of the world, and that being the Decoy capital of the world. That would be Havre, Maryland, which is northeast of Baltimore. They have a decoy duck that drops at midnight on New Year's Eve. So that comes from their long history of loving fishing and using decoy ducks as bait, I'm sure. So all of these are good travel ideas if you just want to go somewhere weird for the holidays next year. And finally, some normal weird news. A man claimed he was a senior footman at Windsor Castle and posted what he said was a walking stick of Queen Elizabeth II. He has been sentenced for fraud. The 26-year-old man from Hampshire, England, had posted the item on eBay and said the proceeds would go to cancer research, and quickly canceled the auction once he realized the cops were on to him. He was found guilty of fraud in the Southampton Magistrates Court and ordered to serve a 12-month community order, which means that he won't go to jail per se, but he will be required to do community service for the next year whenever he is summoned to do so. And now, we have been teasing this for the entire episode, and we have secretly been anticipating this interview for months now. This is the Studio 595 interview of the Clarke Central High School Puppetry Guild, led by Mr. John Ritzler, and we are very much looking forward to this interview. I can't tell you how much we have anticipated this interview.
This is like when we first got hired here, we were like, who do we want to interview? It's like the Puppetry guy.
Yeah, it was actually the first name on our list in terms of any groups or clubs that we wanted to interview.
We've been expecting you, Mr.
And so here is our interview of the Puppetry Guild.
So our goal and mission is simply to give students a place to experience puppetry who are interested in puppetry. I fit that role because I had the privilege of growing up with my mother. When I was in school, my mother was the director of the Center for Puppetry Arts. So I grew up around puppetry in a way that most people don't get to experience. So that's something that is unique to me as an educator that hopefully I can offer to interested students at Clarke Central. When we first started, it happened to be when our drama department was doing Little Shop of Horrors.
Last year in the second semester, the drama club put on a production of Little Shop of Horrors, which is a musical that I really enjoy and I used to watch a lot as like a
So
kid.
they needed to update all of their Audrey 2 puppets. They had some, they were kind of heavy, the expressiveness and ability to move them was in need of improvement. So they needed a lot of repairs and improvement, and we were able to step in and do a lot of that work.
And I saw the puppets that were made for Audrey 2, the big plant, and honestly I was like floored because they were really good, really impressive.
To help with Audrey 2. Now in that process, we totally rebuilt the largest Audrey 2 puppet from scratch. So like as a whole guild, that was sort of the first puppet that we all built together.
So like the second I saw those, I was like, whoa, okay, how did they do this? How did they make this? Who is responsible for this? And it like kind of relit this creative urge I used to have when I was a little kid. I used to go to my grandma's and like make paper puppets and stuff because it was fun. So from that point, I was like kind of, I pretty much knew I wanted to be a part of something like that.
Before that, we were already building some individual puppets, and we built some individual puppets for the Audrey 2 show. Most recently, after Little Shop of Horrors, we started with a focus on the Wild Rumpus. So we called it a guild because that's like the traditional older word for a group of craftspeople who get together and maybe share secrets and things like that. So the idea there is that we have this older skill of puppetry and a guild of people who can come together to keep that skill alive, to build that skill, to push it further. Most students who have participated so far don't have a huge amount of experience with puppetry, so it becomes a way of passing on some of those ideas and traditions to a new group of students.
Really, like it's really laid back. It's just like, it's not like super stressful or anything. It's just kind of like a club you can go to and like hang out with people who are like-minded, who like creating like characters and doing all this wacky stuff with like duct tape and foam and just making things and having fun. Like it's not like work.
We don't have like a lot of deadline or direction. Like we have freedom so that we can be student directed. If students are interested in building, we'll build. If students are interested in performing, we'll perform. If students are interested in experiencing puppetry, we'll do that too.
I like the people there, and Mr. Ritzler and Mrs. Ritzler, they're really nice. Like they're, I think, perfect leadership figures for the club.
There's a little bit of something magic about it, something that seems a little strange and exotic and old-fashioned, and there is something about that to puppetry also. In other theaters, you put on a role, but that role sort of is a wardrobe that you wear. In puppetry, your role is not layered over you. Your role is in your hands. So it's apart from you. And in that sense, you create a character that seems to take on a life of its own, that is not you taking on a character. You'll see puppeteers who get engaged in interactions with their puppets to the extent that you have completely forgotten that it's one person performing. And you see an interaction between two individuals occurring.
I would say it's one, the hands-on nature of it, because like with puppetry, even like people who are playing the puppets, even I guess the actors in that sense, like they play a part in it, like making the puppet. They know the puppet's character, like they oftentimes create it, they like make its design and everything. It's very hands-on. So it feels a little bit more attached as a performer to like what you're doing, because it's yours. It's like your brainchild that you put into physical form. The medium of puppetry, of like creating like miniaturized characters and like miniaturized sets and everything, is like, it's already abstract, because it's like, what are you doing? You're making like a little purple creature or whatever. Like, but people already have like suspended their disbelief enough for that you can kind of do whatever. So I think that it is really, really a medium that allows for a lot of creativity, especially in that it doesn't take as much like resources or time and effort to make it. It's a lot easier to make it like a little hand puppet than, you know, some enormous or whatever extravagant costume for like an actor in a play.
The question that you asked is, how do you create a character from a puppet? And it can very much more often work the other direction. How do you create a puppet from a character? Sometimes you already know the character and you're building a puppet. Sometimes you develop a character and then you start to see the puppet.
The puppeteer has like the initial idea, right? Like the character, how they act, what they look like. But when you start actually making it, it can kind of take on a life of its own.
But there's another secret in there too. Sometimes while you're building a puppet, things just happen. Happy accidents along the way, and the character of the puppet forms in the building process.
Because I think a very important part of the creation process of like creating their personality, like their voice, like all those characteristics, is to just let it happen, I guess. Because you don't want to take too much control as the puppeteer, because with a lot of things, like it's never going to turn out exactly how you plan it to, and I think it's important to accept that and then embrace the unexpected factors that come out.
A particular shape of a set of eyes inspires you to think about the character of that puppet differently. Or you're building and you think about the character of the puppet, and that gives you an idea about how you might change how it looks. So it can be directional, especially for a professional who's very focused on doing that. But more often the process becomes organic, that the building of the puppet and the character of the puppet, they sort of evolve together.
I guess I would say as a puppeteer, it's like you push the boat onto the water, but like the idea and the character of the puppet is what is steering the ship in the creative process.
Thank you for watching this episode, and we are looking forward to many episodes in 2024, so you won't have to wait another year to see us. That's my dad joke of the week.
That was so funny. I almost got it. So close.
As with 2023, please make sure to follow us on all of our platforms. We will try, fingers crossed, try to add some more platforms that you can listen to Studio 595 on over the course of the year. And we hope to see you in a couple weeks where we have, I'll just tease it right now, some multiple interviews as part of a national week that will be coming up in February.
National Week.
So
You'll see.
So you will see in a couple weeks, and until then, I have been producer Alex.
I've been Owen.
And this has been Studio 595.
595.